Hello, welcome to Planet Mark, and today we've got something quite different. We're going to be doing the 50 scariest micro pastas, which if you don't know, they're like one-word creepypastas. So get ready, sit back, and get ready to be scared for the 50 creepiest one-line creepypastas. A doll sits on the foot of my bed when I wake up. It was in the other room when I went to sleep. A few hours after the mobsters buried me alive, I wept with joy as I realised I could hear the sound of digging. But then I realised it was coming from underneath me. A girl heard her mum scream her name from downstairs. As she was making her way down, somebody grabbed her and pulled her into a room. It was her mum, and she said, "I heard that too." A boy was about to go to sleep, but then saw a man at the foot of his bed, saying, "Go to sleep." He then crawled under his bed. A man asked for a refund on his wife's empty casket. Her funeral was 3 days ago. A man lived alone in a big old house. It took him years to realise that the portraits were windows. A man was happy when he flew. He started to panic when he realised he couldn't fly down. A set of bloody footprints led to my house, but none of them led back. After his wife left him, he decided to get rid of everything that reminded him of her. He looked at his daughter and said, "You have your mother's eyes." After I killed my wife, I started to hope I was going insane, thinking I was just hearing the sounds of her screaming in the night. And now I see her with a bloody knife at the end of my bed. I really hope I'm going insane. After living alone in my house, I seem to always open more doors than I close. After the body was exhumed, we started to panic after we saw the scratch marks inside the coffin. We panicked even more when we saw all the scratch marks outside the coffin. After working a hard day, I came home to see my wife cradling our dead child. I don't know what was more frightening, seeing my dead girlfriend and our stillborn child, or knowing that somebody broke into my house to put them there. After years of isolation, I was surprised to see my daughter outside my window, bloody and waving at me. What kind of 6-year-old ends up in hell? All of the monsters closed their eyes. That night, there wasn't a single star in the sky. As a kid, I used to have an imaginary friend. As an adult, I've started to realise he's not imaginary and not friendly. As her eyes rolled into the back of her head, she screamed, "Don't answer the door." I suddenly woke up, heart pounding, realising it was the doorbell that had woke me up. As I jumped off the roof, I anxiously waited for the splat that was to come. It never came. As I lay in the dark, it feels like my walls are closing in. I keep thinking to myself, the claustrophobic should not be buried. As I look in the mirror, I realise my face looks strange. The man's skin doesn't fit at all. As I wake up, I hear my wife and children laughing together. I haven't heard that noise since she drove them off that cliff. As I was stumbling in the night to my bathroom, I felt my dog brush against my legs. I then heard him from upstairs start barking. As the sun rose, he knew it was going to be a hot day, so he drove to the store with his windows down and his music blasting. It was only when he returned with a cart full of shopping he remembered his toddler in the back seat. At first I thought it was cool when my scarecrow started hunting crows. It was scary when it started hunting bigger prey. Billy said if he didn't get an A, his dad would kill him. His body was found a week later. Brushing my teeth, I keep seeing my reflection using the wrong hand. So I run out and see my wife watching TV with me. I keep imagining my last day alive. Then I remember she smothered me in my sleep, and I keep dreaming my last day alive. Dear landlady, I found the room to be a bit too spacious. The only downside is the springs above me that creak every time you get up or lie down. Don't be scared of the monsters. Always look for them. Look left, look right, look ahead, look back, look under your bed, but never look up. She hates being found. Have you ever looked out the corner of your eye thinking that you can see someone watching you? Ever seen half of a face looking back? Every night I hear sounds from the basement. My wife just says it's rats. But rats don't whisper, "I'm going to kill you." Every night I sit with my family. My husband refuses to say anything to my children. He says they're dead, but why else would there be muddy footprints on the floor? Every night I'm awoken by screaming of children coming from the apartment above mine. So I told my landlord, and he said that apartment's been empty since a year ago when the family was murdered. Finding a dead body in a back garden was scary. Realising it was mine was even worse. For a while now we've been hearing footsteps and laughter in the old clinic. We've eventually got used to it, and now they've stopped, we know it's our time to leave. For a long time I've known that I've hated clowns. It's gotten even worse since there's been one standing outside my window. People always made fun of me for being afraid of my own shadow. You'd be afraid of yours too if yours started to strangle you. For our anniversary, my wife gave me a self-portrait. Normally this would be a great gift, but I just saw it blink. 4 years ago, my house burnt to the ground. I never made it out. I grew up in a house of lots of cats and dogs, so I was used to the sound of scratching. Now I live alone. It's slightly more unsettling. Having a light burn out is creepy enough when you live alone. Having one turn on is even worse. He came back in with a lot of bite marks on him, an unusual thing to happen to an astronaut. Her brothers told me not to break her heart, so I settled for breaking her ribs instead. "Honey," I heard from coming downstairs. I realised then that my mum had died 2 years ago in a car crash. I always hate looking in the mirror. I feel like my reflection has a slight delay. I always thought my cat had a staring problem, until one day I realised she was actually looking just behind me. I was relieved to hear that my wife wasn't one of the women that were murdered. I was shocked when I realised she was the murderer. I asked my daughter why she threw her favourite doll away. She replied, "She bites." As I tucked my son in, he said, "Mummy, can you look for monsters underneath my bed?" I look under his bed for his amusement and find my son quivering in fear, whispering, "Mummy, there's someone on my bed." So those were the 50 scariest micropastas that we could find. What did you think? Have you had to change your pants, or were they nothing? These are kind of like a nice way to begin if you're like really gonna get into creepypastas. Just want to know how, whether it's for you. But that's really, if you want to hear more of these kinds of things, maybe I think of maybe just doing like one every week, like a long story. If you want that, then please just tell me in the comment section below. Remember to subscribe to Planet Mark, hit that bell notification, and click that like button. Follow us on at Planet Mark Vlog on Twitter or facebook.com/Planet Mark Vlog. See you in the next one, guys. Bye, 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 bye.